Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790 AM. Brought to you proudly by the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency.
Hey, welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray as we kick off today's show on this second Saturday in October. Hard to believe it is rolling along. We're only 3 weeks away from show number 500. Show number 500. And again, we got those gift packs we're putting together from longtime show helpers and supporters over the last 19-plus years, and we will be announcing those as we go along. I'm really happy. I want to hear from this next guest because she received a pretty special honor, and I think I know I've met Jane before. I know she was at Bass Pro when we announced the winners of the federal duck stamp and things along the juniors and everything else. I'm not sure how many years ago that was, 3, 4, I'm not really for sure. But we're really happy to have Jane Lawson. She is the Ducks Unlimited Art and Merchandise Marketing Manager, which makes that title long enough that she does not have any shirts with her title on it. So that's and you've been there for a while. Jane,
yes.
First of all, congratulations being one of 5 judges, and thank you for taking time this Saturday morning and for John Gordon to set it up. Talk about your career. You've been at Ducks Unlimited. We're not going to age you, but we know you've been there longer than John Gordon. Okay, so
yes.
That's several John Gordons ago. But
sure.
But talk about your love of art and then how it led up to this being chosen one of 5 people.
Sure. So I have been at Ducks Unlimited National Headquarters for 19 years. I've had the privilege of getting to handle the art role or be over the art program since 2006. So 14 of those years I've been doing this, and went to college, got a marketing degree and an art minor, and who would have thought I actually got to use it. But anyway, I'm from Memphis and born and raised here, and I'm just it was amazing opportunity to get to be selected to be one of the judges for the Federal Duck Stamp Competition, which is the only art competition that's run by the federal government, and it allows for the purchase of the federal duck stamps allow us to acquire and protect wetland habitat and conservation easements, which Ducks Unlimited is all about that. So it really was a privilege to be able to represent Ducks Unlimited.
How do they do this? Do they just call you on the phone or do they send you a text? I mean, I just wondered, how do they say, hey, Jane, you're going to be a judge? And what's...
Yeah, so I got an email.
An email, okay, this day and time.
Got an email, got an email in March,
okay.
And that said you've been nominated, and your nomination is going to go to, I guess, up the ranks of the federal government and see if you will be, one of the ones that's confirmed to be a judge.
And then how long did that process take before you were actually...
So it took a while. They reached out initially in March, and I didn't hear back from them until right about the 1st of July.
Oh, my goodness.
So yeah.
All that time you didn't know whether you were in or out? Is that...
Didn't know.
Well, I know that has to be a rewarding feeling to get that because this is such a prestigious thing that... Folks, this goes back to 1934 when that first federal duck stamp sold for $1.
Yep.
We're paying $25 now, but that's the price it pays. But there's not a lot of judges over those years. So talk about the experience of being a judge and
sure.
And the way you guys came up with a familiar name and Robert Clifton out of Delaware for this year's federal duck stamp competition.
Yeah, Richard Clifton.
Richard, yeah.
So so the competition itself, it was different than what I was anticipating. So each of the jurists, we are all independent of one another. So there's no conversations, no what do you think, or
really?
bouncing ideas off of one another,
oh,
right?
Okay.
So that for me was challenging, especially just for my role at Ducks Unlimited and, being part of a team. And, we're bouncing ideas off of each other all the time.
Yes.
And so really just going in there and I'm having to look at the artwork and decide what do I think, both on, the anatomical correctness
Yes.
of the waterfowl that are represented and the artistic value. We did have both a stamp expert that was at our disposal and a waterfowl biologist.
Okay.
So we could ask questions to them for that. And then the competition itself, it's 3 rounds. So
3 rounds.
there's
Okay.
Yep, so there's about 138 entries were submitted this year.
And you break it
the
down.
first
Then you break it.
the first round we just voted whether we thought the piece should be in or out.
Okay.
And then that narrowed it down to I think it was like 52 pieces.
Okay. All right.
Then from there we voted again in a second round, and then that this year left it up for 7 entries that made it to the final round.
And then you 5 judges then look at that and you mark what you think and somebody else thinks, and then so you never sat down with any of the other 4 judges.
No, and honestly, I didn't know. So this year, the competition was supposed to be held at Drake University in Iowa.
Yes.
But with everything going on with COVID-19, they brought it to Falls Church, Virginia, where the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service office is. And so that's where we had the competition. But I didn't know until I got back to Memphis and watched the virtual recording what even happened, right? I mean, I knew who won, but I didn't know how anybody else had voted or, how the last moments went.
Amazing, yeah.
So that was interesting.
But Richard Clifton, of course, he won 2007, 2008. Was the stamp winner. He's been in there before. He's been in the hunt before, so to speak.
Yes.
But how was his? Describe the winning stamp.
Sure. So it's kind of interesting. So there's 5 species every year that are put into the mix where the artists are able to paint one of 5 species.
Yeah.
Well, in the final round, we only had there were 7 entries. 5 of the 7 were lesser scaup.
5 of the 7. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And so Richard Clifton's winning entry was of a single drake lesser scaup, and then there's some cattail reeds with a lanyard.
Seen it. Okay, I've seen it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, with some wooden duck calls. And I actually talked to Richard, I guess it was, I don't know, that same week when I returned home, he gave me a call.
Yes.
And he said he actually, I was talking to him just about the duck calls, and he said that one of the duck calls that he painted in his painting, he found it in a wildlife area near his home.
Wow.
He was able to, he ran across it. So he said, well, in painting this stamp, I felt like, this might be something that somebody else might see when they're out there in the duck blind.
Yeah.
So he felt like it was a realistic portrayal.
Well, it was. And John, you're listening in on this, and you work with Jane and know her knowledge of artwork. I've seen the stamp. Man, I'm glad I didn't see the other 6 or whatever they were, because this one was a great one. How do you, as a duck hunter, John, when you look at these things and this winning stamp, talk about it from you as a perspective as a duck hunter.
The stamps have always been special to me, Larry. I think about the first one I ever had to buy when I was 16. I think it was canvasbacks.
Okay, yeah.
1985, maybe.
We're not aging anybody here, John. Okay, okay.
But it's always been a cool part of the experience for me.
Hadn't it,
buying
though?
your license,
yes,
and you get your stamp, and it's kind of changed a little bit now. A lot of times, licenses are bought online, and I usually buy mine there. So you just get an option to, pay for your stamp, and they send it to you in the mail.
Yes, yeah.
Just being able to look at that stamp and and sign it and put it on your license. It brings it all around full circle for me every year. So that stamp is a really important part of it. And there's been some great artwork over the years in those stamps. I mean, it's amazing to me these artists can really make those ducks.
They look so real.
Live and breathe on that stamp. It's incredible.
Well, I think, Jane, I did some research. I love your work at the Life Church. I bet you didn't know I was going to mention that and things like that. But I appreciate your passion for working with kids and things along that line. And to realize that you've been with DU since January 05 or so. I don't know when you started. You was a volunteer before that, I'm sure, but this.
I've been here since, I'm trying to think, August of 2001, so 19 years.
Okay. Well, you weren't there. You weren't there when they put the shovel in the ground, were you?
I was not.
Okay.
I was not.
I was there, so I always wondered why somebody didn't put that shovel in the duck stamp, because it brought it to Memphis. Jane, thank you again. With Jane Lawson, thank you for taking time. Quite an honor, folks. Just Google Jane's name and federal duck stamp, whatever it might be. This wasn't an easy thing to do, and thank you for accepting that challenge. And also, folks out there, if you'd like to know, listen to this. Proceeds are part of $1 billion raised to conserve more than 6 million acres of habitat utilized by birds and other wildlife, and we're really happy to have DU as part of our Memphis landscape. Thank you, Jane. Hope you have a great day, and hope to see you down the road, okay?
Sounds great. Thanks again.
Thanks. All right, let's take a break on Outdoors with Larry Ray and come back, and we're going from ducks to crappie, and we're going to Mr. Crappie himself. We'll be right back.